Well, the Cardinals made a move of some sort heading into this weekend's game against the Seattle Seahawks at their place. Let's talk about it. Welcome back to Cardinals Daily. I'm Eddie Law. If you're already part of the squad since day one, appreciate you for riding with us. If you're new here, hit that sub button. It really helps out the channel. And the more we grow, the better content we can bring you every single day. Red Sea, let's get right to it. Looks like we got a familiar face returning to the practice squad, Jeff Driskel. So, quarterback news coming out of Tempe. Cardinals officially signed Jeff Driskel back to the practice squad. If you guys remember, he was in the practice squad in 2023 and I believe earlier this year as well. And it's a move that might seem small on paper, but could actually tell us a little bit about where the team's headed into Week 10. So earlier today, Driskel got signed, 6'4", 231 on the scale. He's a big dude. Back in the desert, he spent time, like I said, in the practice squad in 2023. He's been around the NFL block. We've been talking like 7 years, played 25 games, 12 starts with teams like I think Washington, the Browns, definitely, the Broncos, the Lions, and I think the Bengals, but I'm not 100% sure on the Bengals. Well, anyway, in his career, he completed 229 passes, 229 of 391 passes, 2,394 yards, 16 touchdowns with another 417 rushing yards behind it, and 3 scores on the ground. So he's not just a clipboard guy. He can somewhat move a little bit, but the whole point is we signed him hoping to not have to play the kid that got drafted by the Niners back in 2016 out of Louisiana Tech, right? So he's one of those quarterbacks who's kind of hung around the league because of just his football IQ for the most part. He's like dependable enough to put in there as an emergency quarterback. So that's the thing. So here's the key. It's not a splash signing, of course. It's just insurance. With Kyler Murray on IR and Jacoby Brissett, the current starter, we needed depth and flexibility at quarterback. If you remember, Brissett takes a lot of hits, and he's taken quite a few in the last few weeks. And with the physical nature of his play, having a steady veteran like Driskel, it kind of just makes sense. And he's been in the office before and understands the terminology, and he understands the terminology and can step in quickly if absolutely needed. So this is less about competition and more about stability, just giving the Cardinals a safety net of some sort because we're going to have Jacoby as a starter more than likely for the rest of the season, right? So hopefully he stays healthy because we do not want to – look, if Jeff Driskel comes in the game, it's because we're in trouble, all right? Interesting part is what this move could signal. Deadline's behind us, so Murray's going to be, on the roster at least through the rest of the season. Sidelined for several, I think, 4 weeks plus. They said 4 to 8, depending on how the injury goes. But regardless, about 4 weeks minimum, he's going to be gone. And the Cardinals may quietly be exploring what the quarterback landscape looks moving forward. Not just for the season, but for 2026 and beyond. Now again, this isn't like Driskel's going to be the guy. They're looking around, right? Now they had to do this to get a backup in there for Brissett, right? But mostly because Clayton Tune, I think, with not the Cowboys, he's with the Packers. So there you go. And there's not much left out there that's available. Like I said, Tune's with Green Bay. Guys like Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance are on the rosters. And I know none of those would be ideal for anybody. But if we have to bring someone in, it's because we have literally no choice. So, unless you want Colin Kaepernick, I guess. I don't know. That dude's trying to pretend like he still plays football, which I don't think you or I or anybody else believe at all. So there you go. Let's talk the game on Sunday. Redbirds coming off that big-time win on Monday Night Football over the Dallas Cowboys. Best showing of the season easily. Might even be the best showing of the last 2 years. Just memory serves, right? So now they're looking to stack back-to-back wins for the first time this year. No. Second time this year because we were 2-0. So back-to-back wins for the second time this year. Seattle, meanwhile, sits at 6-2, riding high in the division. Looking to prove that they're still a serious contender in the NFC. This is the classic, prove-it game for both teams. One for control, one for credibility, right? The Cardinals entered this one at 3-5, but the vibes are different. We don't feel like a 3-5 team coming off the game on Monday. And you can thank Jacoby Brissett for that, right? Since taking over as a starter, Brissett's been steady, and he's been the guy that we needed. And they're, completing 66% of passes, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, and kind of keeping this offense alive and getting it to move and flow a little better. A lot better than Kyler did, if we're honest, right? I know he was 2-0 before he got hurt, but, 2-0, and then he lost a couple, and then he got hurt, and we were kind of like, all right. So, either way, Brissett's production, 25 points per game with the offense, nearly up like a touchdown from when Kyler Murray was under center earlier this season. And he's spreading the ball around quite a bit. He hit everybody last game. Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson. Everyone got the ball. Higgins got in on the act too. And using his legs when he absolutely needed to. Not as the first choice. Right? Look, Gannon's offense, Pedzing's offense isn't really, it's not flashy, but it's balanced, it's controlled, and it's finally consistent. So, and the consistency comes from Jacoby, right? Now, defensively, we're seeing the emergence of the young guns, okay? Walter Nolan III was a wrecking ball last week in his first game of his career. getting his first career sack, and living in the Cowboys' backfield. Just a nightmare for Dak Prescott. Corner Will Johnson, another rookie, continues to impress. He locked down top receiver. He locked down George Pickens, and then he also did work on CeeDee Lamb a bit. And that was, honestly, the other side of that was Denzel Burke was doing work on CeeDee Lamb, which is wild to see a rookie locking up a guy like CeeDee Lamb, right? And don't forget linebacker Cody Simon, who forced that late game fumble that sealed the win against Dallas. The energy on this defense is just different, right? Flying to the ball, communicating, just playing fast. Even though we're not super undersized, still playing fast. And they finally look like they believe in like themselves to close out games, like really, really, really close. Now the question is, can we keep it going against Seattle? It's a good question. Talk about the enemy up north, Seattle Seahawks. They're 6-2, sitting right behind San Francisco in the NFC West. They're one of the most complete teams in the conference. Not perfect, but very solid across the board. Now Geno Smith has been he's been pretty terrible for the Raiders, right? And so a lot of people were talking about the talk has been about Darnold, right? Sam Darnold. I can't believe he signed him or not. He's got him at 6-2. Meanwhile, Geno Smith, I don't know what the Raiders are at right now, but they're terrible. Like, they're just bad. In fact, I can see Kyler Murray being a Raider, but we'll talk about that in the offseason. But anyway, Sam Darnold hasn't been perfect, but he's been good enough, right? And he doesn't have the weapons that Geno Smith had last year with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, but he's got Jackson Smith and Jigba, and he feeds the guy like crazy, right? But the engine of this team, in my mind, is the run game between Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. Powerful 1-2 punch, man. I really wish we had one of those guys on this team, but they punish defenses between the tackles and open up play action game. The play action for Sam Darnold, and really give him like a backup. He doesn't feel like he's alone in the backfield, right? So it's really nice for him to have those two guys back there. And of course, Devin Witherspoon, the corner, continues to shine as one of the best young corners in football. And it's a loaded secondary, honestly. And they're fast and they're physical. So, and their pass rush is crazy. Those front seven are going to be scary. Like, I just said a second ago, Jacoby gets hit plenty. He's going to get smacked around a little bit. And it's going to be on the offensive line to limit that as much as possible and just cross our fingers that Jacoby doesn't get broken up, right? Seattle's one weakness. They can be had in the middle of the field, right? And that's what guys like Trey McBride and Mari DeMercado they're going to be able to eat there. So let's break down the matchups that will decide the game in my mind. Jacoby Brissett versus the blitz packages, right? Seattle loves to disguise pressure, and they do it really, really well. They did it to us earlier this season when they whooped us, right? Or beat us by a field goal. Expect Witherspoon to come off the edge, and Brissett's poison and ability to read the blitz, it's going to be important. It's going to be key. If we can get the ball out quickly on to hot routes and just get the ball in our playmakers' hands as fast as we can, we'll be able to move the chain, especially if you go to Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr., who showed that they can be targets on third down. Like, I don't know about you, but I was shocked that we kept converting third down over third down or after third down on Monday. That was wild, right? Keep in mind, also, this is a short week, right? So I'll talk about the injury report here in a second, but it's not great, and we're definitely going to be behind, like a step behind the Seahawks coming into this game on Sunday. Anyway, then we got Trey McBride against the linebackers. McBride has quietly become one of the most productive tight ends in football. Not even quietly, like he's finally loud. Last year he was quiet because he didn't score any touchdowns. Everyone wanted to talk all kinds of trash about him. Now he's scoring. His route running and his toughness are great. They're elite. I'll say it, right? And yards up to the catch, elite, right? Those linebackers for the Seahawks are gonna have their hands full with that guy. Cardinals D line for the Seahawks run game. This is gonna be the biggest one in my mind. Walter Nolan's gonna have to do his job. Zaven Collins gonna have to do his job. Calais Campbell's gonna have to be back there. Josh Sweat. Everyone's gotta. They all got to be together, not just to go after Sam Darnold, right, but to slow the running game down, because you're not going to be able to stop it. You'll be able to contain it a bit at least, right, and force Sam Darnold to make really tight throws, and it really opens up the turnover possibilities for our secondary. And of course Marvin Harrison Jr. versus Devin Witherspoon. That's going to be the duel of the game. That's going to be fun to watch. Two top 10 picks. Both physical, both fearless. Harrison's route running versus Witherspoon's press coverage. Now, Harrison did moss him, I think, in the first game pretty good. I was at that game. He mossed him pretty good. That was nice. But he's got to keep that going. And, of course, luckily we have Jacoby Brissett, who will force feed the ball to him. So it's great. Every game comes down to one or two hidden factors. And to me, for Arizona, is the offensive line. Can we give Jacoby Brissett time to find the open targets and control the tempo? If not, it's going to get ugly. right? The Seahawks pass rush is relentless, right? Crowd noise and Lumen Field only amplifies that. You got to give those guys credit. Those Seattle fans, as irritating and as annoying as they are when they're here, they're a real factor in Seattle, 100%. For Seattle, it's explosive plays. The Cardinals defense has been better, but we still give up the occasional big game, right? If Jackson breaks free downfield or Charbonnet rips off a long run, that momentum's going to swing real quick. And let's not forget the chess match, right? Jonathan Gannon had this team prepared and playing hard every single week, but Seattle rarely beats itself, right? And that said, Gannon's defense has shown real growth. So mixing looks, creating turnovers, starting to show that next man up mentality we've been waiting for, but it's been only one game, really. Okay, 1.5 games or so. This game's going to come down to discipline and finishing. Two things that have haunted Arizona all season, especially the finishing part. And can they play four quarters of football again? We did it on Monday. Can we do it again just days later? Can we execute when it matters the most? That's going to be where the game is decided. Cardinals are trending up 100%. They found something with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, and the defense is finally playing with confidence. And the young core is starting to click. But Seattle at home is really hard. They're really hard to beat there. Really hard, right? We got to go in there. We got to steal this win. The crowd noise, the weather, the travel, all of it factors in. Travel not so much. It's not a long flight, but flying into Seattle can get a little annoying. I've only done it twice, and it's just like, But and by the way, nice city. Not gonna crap on the town. Politics aside, they got some great food over there. Honestly, really good food. Anyway, if Arizona can win the turnover battle and keep it close late, we got a real shot. My prediction: Seattle 24, Arizona 27. We get that field goal win back. Hopefully. All right, close competitive game that shows how far the Cardinals have come and how they're almost really close to turning that corner. Plus, again, revenge for that loss earlier this season. If they pull it off, we get to 4-5. The playoff conversation suddenly doesn't sound so crazy. We get to 4-5, we have a shot, right? And a lot of people are talking about, can we win out? No, probably not, right? Let's be real. But look, crazy things have happened. All right, I teased the injury report earlier on some ugly stuff, and it's not great. We hit the field for the first time for full practice on Thursday, yesterday, after just a walkthrough on Wednesday. And the injury report is the second one of the week, and we got some red flags here. So, biggest headline. Will Johnson did not practice after being limited on Wednesday. He did not practice yesterday. He's dealing with back and hip issues apparently, and I'm sure the groin as well, which is a concern considering how critical he's been to the secondary. Right? Johnson's been locking down opposing receivers and playing with real confidence, but we need him against Jackson Smith and Jigma. We need him in there against him, right? Cooper Kupp hasn't been crazy, but he has ripped us a new one when he plays us. So it's something we need to keep an eye on as well. Max Melton, if he's able to play, I don't know. I didn't see him in terms of the concussion issues. I think that's what it was. And of course, Denzel Burke's going to get some real run this week. Of course. All right. Joining him on the did not participate list, Max Melton, the concussion. Mac Wilson with the rib issue. Melton's still in concussion protocol after being injured against Dallas, and with a short week, it's starting to look doubtful. In fact, I'm pretty sure he's not going to play. He probably won't suit up. Luckily, we have Garrett Williams in there back and playing. Hopefully, if he's on the rest of this freaking injury report, and of course Denzel Burke's going to be in there doing his thing. Rookie Cody Simon stepped in for Wilson, and if he can't play, he's going to have to. The funny thing is this: he went in there for Wilson, who's our green dot guy, right? Mike linebacker. They're the ones that get the radio in their ear, call the defensive plays. He did solid, from what I understand. So if Wilson can't go, rookie's getting another shot to lead the defense in Seattle. A few more names that pop up as limited. Buda Baker with a hamstring. He's battling through it, but it's something to watch, and I think he'll play because he's a tough dude. Will Hernandez with the knee, limited. More than likely it's precautionary. Kittrell Clark is the ankle. Kenton Crawford is an ankle. Zay Jones is a knee issue. Xavier Weaver has an ankle issue. BJ Ojulari, knee, still on the, he's practicing, but he's still, not ready to return, I don't think. For him, this is the second week he's been back practicing after that serious knee injury in training camp last year. And he's still technically on the PUP list, but he's progressing. It's encouraging. So hopefully he comes back soon. There's optimism he can return to game action soon. So we'll see. So what does this mean heading to Seattle? Cardinals could very be very thin at cornerback. Not ideal against one of the deepest receiving cores in football. Not super deep, but good and talented, right? Especially with Sam Darnold throwing in the ball. If Johnson and Melton can't go, Ketchel Clark he's going to get some run time. Denzel Burke's going to get a start more than likely. And of course, Garrett Williams will get the start on the other side here. Probably some extra safety help here from Buda Baker and Kenton Crawford should those guys be able to go. On the bright side, offense looks relatively healthy outside of Hernandez. As long as the O-line holds up and Paris Johnson Jr. be able to train into play, Jacoby Brissett should have a stable group protecting him. But our O-line has not been great this year, even now with Jacoby, right? And Petzing's play calling has not helped. All right, you can only call play action so many times where the defense goes, screw it, I'm just gonna pin my ears back and hit that dude regardless because he's gonna get the ball. So we'll see. That pass rush is gonna be scary. So we'll find out. All right. So there you have it. Thursday's injury rundown. The Cardinals are banged up, especially on defense, but we've shown resilience all especially recently, but all year. And we'll get the final injury report tomorrow or later today, I believe. And that'll tell us just how shorthanded Arizona's going to be on Sunday, going to the hostile territory in Seattle. Sorry, folks, no comments this week. I'm gaining over a thing, which is why I can't speak well at all. So apologies for that. I'm a little nasally, I'm sure. Try to clear it up before before we're doing the show, but it is what it is. Any of you guys that have kids, you know exactly what I'm going through right now. That's going to do it for this episode of Cardinals Daily, folks. I'm Eddie Law. Don't forget to hit that sub, hit that bell, hit the like, leave a comment. I will see you guys all on Monday, hopefully for a victory Monday. Game day on Sunday in Seattle. Get ready. Get your gear on, get your jerseys on, get in front of that TV, get ready because this is going to be, I think it's going to be a barn burner. Go Cardinals.